ICE, internal combustion engines. The job of an internal combustion engine is to convert thermal energy into mechanical energy. And that allows your back wheel to rotate and spin. But only 65 to 70% of this thermal energy is converted to mechanical energy. The remaining 30% is actually dissipated as a heat, a form of heat. This is the first reason why internal combustion engines require some cooling system, because all this 30% of energy is lost in a form of heat. The purpose of an electric motor is to convert an electrical current into mechanical energy. Most of these new and modern electric motors can reach up to efficiencies to 94, 96, even 98% efficiencies. We need to remember the energy loss are always present. This machine will never reach 100% efficiencies. As thermodynamics well explains, heat is the main factor. Anytime particles move from point A to point B in space, kinetic energy generates heat. We also have this form of energy loss in form of copper loss, internal resistance of components. Iron loss, of course, iron is the least efficient of all the conductors. Air. Anytime we try to spin this big rotating mass inside that we call rotor, you're pushing a lot of air inside, so that's a form of big energy loss. It's a form of friction. Bearings. We have two bearings here. Of course, our rotor cannot kind of fluctuate and float up in the air. It has to be sustained and maintained from two big bearings. That's a form of friction. Lenz's law. One of my previous videos, I actually had a chance to explain and show what the Lenz's law and eddy currents, how Lenz's law actually drops efficiency in your system. And this is the main reason also why we have a big cooling fan inside. You see that? Because no matter how efficient this motor is, this motor heats up and needs to cool down. So, an electric generator. An electric generator turns mechanical energy back into an electrical current. Yes. So at this point, here is the question. Can a motor be used as a generator and a generator eventually be used as a motor? Indeed, of course you can. As long as whenever you build or select your motor or generator meets your requirements and look up for the specification on it. So as we just said, laws of physics are always present. Thermodynamics and quantum mechanics well explains why we always have energy loss in a closed loop system. But there are clearly still like a lot of people on YouTube, mostly scammers and con artists that of course never got a formal and a real education, and they want to deny all the laws of physics, and they're just wasting a lot of time and other people money by asking a lot of donations and spreading a lot of fake information online, including videos like this.
Oil bill. The generator itself will be enough power to run both a 14 amp bench grinder and 16 amp drill press. I'm going to take a 14 amp bench grinder and plug into the generating system. I start the grinder, and to show you that the grinder is working,
То есть не падает.
Стоит, да?
Стоит на месте. 2 киловатта.
Almost 7 months, so they cannot do it. That company says those motors are useless, they're all RPM but no torque because they don't understand it. Now we have 2 companies who really understand it and they're building it, and that's why we're working. A long time. But I'll show you, I'll just pull the camera out here. The light bulbs are all clear bulb, 300 watts and 200 watts. That's full blast, right? And look at my gauge. 240 volts, 125 volts. I'm going to try this. To give you a better. There you go. There we go. Now we start the volt. So the generator is actually working pretty well. Generator itself, I got the bearing, is very quiet. Now if we can bring down
In all these videos, in this last one in particular, like they show like a motor generator to try achieve free energy, a step up or down voltage system with a motor generator. Even for non-engineers or technical people, it's easy to realize and visualize how ridiculous and elementary such a system is. Not only nowadays we have better technology to step up or down a voltage, but the energy loss in this particular system are so remarkable. We need to sum the energy loss from a motor, sum it up to the one of a generator, and then you have energy loss twice. Not only that, we also converted the energy twice, from electrical current down to mechanical energy, from mechanical energy back to electrical current. What's the point of it? Okay, let's leave behind all the con artists, scammers, and all those people that do this for living in a minute, that they like to please make a donation for non-profit organization, and they try to brainwash people, convincing you that this is a step up of finding free energy. Well, in reality, it's actually a step back in time. So let me introduce you guys to semiconductors and why they're such a better choice for stepping up or down a voltage. And let's go take a look at a few characteristics. Copper loss, very little copper loss. Iron loss, almost no iron at all in here. Very little heating elements. In a minute that we don't need big fan, cooling fan. All we need is just a little bit of aluminum as a heat sink. That's plenty of it. Air. Nothing's pushing air here, so we don't have the air energy loss. There are nothing pushing air. Everything is static on a board. Bearings. We got no bearings, so forget about the bearings. Lenz's law, very little Lenz's law, eddy currents, because we have very small transformers and they work on high frequency. So definitely the efficiency can go well up to 98% efficiency with load. So today we're going to replicate the step up, step down voltage, but instead of using a big motor generator, we're going to use a switching power supply or a simple inverter. It's like comparing pretty much a little Fiat 500 with a Ferrari, yes.
Voila, we have a little tiny inverter. This particular one, it's a DC AC step up voltage. These little inverters, they come any shape, any form, so they can be DC to DC, AC to AC, AC to DC. So nowadays we do not need for any motor generator, because nowadays we have some serious technology going on here. It fits in the palm of your hand. So whenever you get fooled from these videos, running a generator with a motor, it's just not a step forward in technology and science. This is just a step backwards. This is a little device that can convert the energy with an efficiency of 98%, 96, 98%. With a load. So this is not even an ideal condition. So what I'm saying is that this fits in the palm of your hand. Check this out. I mean, the tracks are very small. See all the components in copper tracks here. They keep very short to keep the internal resistance very low. The cooling system requires only like a little tiny fan on the switching MOSFETs here. And we also have an internal protection with a thermocouple. So you always keep the efficiency at its best. Instead of frying the device on over voltage, you just shut off the device. So you just reduce the amount of output power. This is very smart. This is something that engineers do. Real engineers don't waste time with a motor generator as they see online. So today we're going to actually turn on this device, and we'll see that we're going to step up a voltage, and of course the current will drop. I always have to remember that anytime you raise a voltage, the current will drop, or if you raise a current, in the case of inverters for welder machines, the voltage will drop. So this is to balance the equation. So we were talking in reasons of watts here. So that's the total amount of energy we have in an electrical circuit, in an electrical device. So this is a rather simple device. You got DC input, you chop it, and then you have raise the voltage with a high frequency little transformer to minimize the energy loss. Then pulse width modulation, of course, reproduce the AC wave, and you eliminate the carrier, and you're supposed to have as an output a nice and clean wave. How clean is the AC? Well, we do not know. I mean, we do know. I got my scope over there, oscilloscope, but this is not the point. The point today is to prove that we can convert the energy with newer technology such as this guy, and much more efficiently. One more thing, in order to take your measurements, you want to use always the same measuring tool. It does not really matter what you use, as long as you always use the same one for taking readings. So anytime you see online on YouTube different gauges and with voltages, amps, that means absolutely nothing. Nothing. You always have to use the same measuring tool. So you have a standard, what we call standard. So in this particular case, actually, it's extremely accurate, and we also have DC amps on the clamp. So we are using the Hall effect transistor for readings, and we also have a digital display with a 3 decimal point. So quite accurate. This is actually a rather simple and cheap device, but though very, very accurate. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and turn on this machine. It's meant to work on 12 volts, but even with 10 volts, I think it does the job quite effectively. Check this out. So let's go ahead and take some readings here. Turn on the device, and we start with perhaps with the voltage input. DC input. Get the probes. And we're having a peak of voltage of about, let's see if I can, 10 point something. Between 10.3 and 10, that's on the reading 3 and 10, it's 10.2 average, so about 10.2 volts. Now we're gonna get and measure the current output, a DC current. Very good. Zero down. Tag. And we are talking about a good 50, it's dropping an average of 250, 257. So it's dropping, so the efficiency is rising. Let's give it a okay, the minimum reading was about 253. So actually 259. 259. 2 amps and 59, even though you don't need to be so precise. Alright, now we go to the output. Output, voltage output. No, sorry. I got this one on probes. Voltage and output, we are talking about 126, well, 126 volts peak. Minimum of 126 volts peak. (126), and now we're going to measure the current. We are talking about 0.2. 0.2. 0.2 amps. So 200 milliamps. 0.2. 200 milliamps. Now we do some calculation. Turn off this device and do some calculations. So if we are talking about 10.2 times 2.59, it's about 26.4 watts. So 26.4 watts input. What about the output? 126 times 0.2, we are talking about 25, approximately 25 watts. So we having like 1 watt or something, 2 watts of discrepancy between the input and the output. So that's about 98% efficiency on this little tiny device. So we are almost converting 100% the energy from your DC input to your AC output. And this is not even actually one of the most efficient ones. This is something that I just repaired and I put it back on duty. So this is definitely technology. This is something definitely a step forward if you're thinking about free energy and not a motor generator. So as you can see, we have better way today to convert the energy. All right, which device you prefer to? 2 of these big guys or one this little piece of technologies? Of course. So this is like a Ferrari compared to your little Fiat 500. Guess what? The efficiency is 98%. So we're now like a con artists, scammers online, always tend to, bash the government, oil companies, and blah, 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 which is, to be honest with you, I don't always agree with what the government does. I agree with that, but it doesn't mean that I'm still an engineer and I know physics. This is real science. Con artists online and never got a real and formal education, but they always use the conspiracy tool to gain money, to gain money. Please make a donation for a non-profit organization. That's always the case. When you get to a point in your life where you've always been a layman for all your life and you cannot make it for the retirement, and then suddenly you have to create some kind of free energy to actually
please make a donation for a non-profit organization. And of course, conspiracy again, it's always the best tool to brainwash people. Don't take me wrong, I don't always agree with what the government does, but as I said, I'm still an engineer and I know what real science is. So we'll actually, these people online use a motor generator to achieve free energy. Nowadays, real engineers can do much better than that. Yeah, they're working on real stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you for sure another free energy claim online.